Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining us at the Clan Hatton Association YouTube channel. We have with us today Richard McBain of McBain, Chief of Clan MacBean. Richard, welcome.
Hello, great to be here.
We're so happy to have you on. And we've been spotlighting for the month of March Clan MacBean, and we've had your and Shinnehy on, Philip Beddoes, several times. And let me just tell you, he's been phenomenal. He is so knowledgeable.
He is remarkable. We are so lucky to have him.
If he doesn't have an answer to a question, or even if it's just something about Clan Hatton in general, or any of the battles, the fights, the feuds, he goes and looks up that information and gets that information. I've been on with him where we've been looking through the Kenrara, we've been looking through the Far manuscript, we've been looking through the 1467 manuscript. There's so much. Richard, I don't know how you all do it. There's so much out there. Everybody who's a McBain, I'm sure, wants to know all that they can about Clan MacBean.
Well, I'm lucky to have an organization in place. We've had a Clan MacBean Society for well over 100 years. I think it's actually 200 years. And then I've been fortunate in the people I've met, people like Philip Beddoes, Alan Bean, and of course our president. He's great. So it's the people around you that make this thing possible.
I completely can understand that. And you guys have been so involved with the Clan Hatton Association. I was very honored to be able to play for you at the McBain Memorial Park when you dedicated the two cats that you were
Yes.
there, and you and your father came to the Seaside Highland Games in Ventura. I was very honored to play for you there as well. So our association is a close one, and thank you again for being on here today as we try to reach out and connect with people of the Clan Hatton Association and also Clan MacBain. When people come into the Clan Hatton Association tent when and where I'm convening, I have a little pop-up for each individual clan of the association. And I try to give as much information as I can and direct them, of course, to your website. When and where was a Clan MacBain first seen in history? Philip Beddoes did talk about this a bit, and we will go ahead at the end of this and link that interview and also your inauguration. So a lot of these questions will be answered.
When it comes to the origin of a clan, that's a very complex and difficult subject because at some point, the clan or the person involved, say the clan chief, took the father's first name for his last name. And so reaching back in time is very, very difficult. And I think that Philip Beddoes has spent an inordinate amount of time getting things accurate. So I will say that we are one of the oldest Highland clans, and the affiliation that we have with Clan Hatton is an amazing, exciting thing because I think it's unique in all of the Scottish clans. So when you want the actual details and the dates of what we know, please, everybody viewing this, take an opportunity to listen to the interview that Cindy had with Philip Beddoes, our Shawnee, a man of many facts, and the research is still ongoing. But I think it's important to note that there was a signing of the band of Scottish Highland clans in 1609. And the idea was to agree not to feud amongst each other and to put up a united front against our foes. But before that, there was once a Clan Hatton. And many would suggest that the various clans, McIntosh, McPherson, 10 others, including McBain, all came out of Clan Hatton. And then and there were actually 4 different documents signed that we know of. But I think the most important one was 1609, when we got together and signed a band of union. And at that point, Clan Hatton as a clan had ceased to exist, but its offshoots, the McBains, the McPhersons, the McIntoshes, and on and on and on, did exist as clans. So it's kind of interesting because we formed what might be known today as, at least in the United States, it's often called a super clan. Because by banding all these clans together, we became a much larger force and were able to protect each other much better. And I think very exciting to note that in 2009, as you know, we signed the band again in Inverness. And it was an amazing event. We had, I think, 6 of the chiefs, the actual chiefs of the various Clanhattan clans there. And we marched from the town hall as the various clans were walking down, I think it's Princess Street, crossing the Ness River. The provost of Inverness came up to me. And again, I was a tannist. I wasn't a chief. And I was surprised he paid any attention to me at all. And he whispered in my ear, you know, we had the Queen here last week, and she was in a march, and we didn't close the road for her.
Oh my goodness.
He was so proud of the fact that the Clanhattan Association had the road closed for us. And we marched across the river, and we marched on to the Civic Center, and we had an online signing. That was amazing because if we go back to 2009, much of the internet was in its infancy. And yet we had over 2,500 people sign a bond or band of union to essentially extend our union between our clans that actually started before 1609, but we'll use 1609 as the big event. So that was very exciting. And today, Clanhattan is still the glue that holds the various clans together. And it's been amazing for me because I'm part of the Scottish diaspora, right? I don't live in Scotland. In fact, you see the screen behind me, that's my grandfather, and that's him on McBain Memorial Park with Loch Ness in the background. Now, what I almost put up instead of that was an image I have of Lisa and I and my great dog Rex in Arizona with saguaros behind us, because that's where we reside.
And hopefully Lisa McFarlane, your life partner, will come on in the future as well. She's fascinating. And just a quick heads up to everyone, again, at the end of this, we will link the inauguration again, and you'll hear Lisa speak and learn some more about her, and such a great role model for our young ladies.
Absolutely true.
And I can't wait to have a chat with her as well. What are some of the most notable events, contributions, historical events of Clan MacBean since its inception? And I just want to preface this with, you have a wonderful website where you can go, and the link will be in the description, and learn about some of these most notable McBains throughout history. I love how you have a little button with their name and their picture on it, and you can click it and find some more information about these people. What are some of your favorites, and what would you like to share with?
Well, hopefully I don't miss anyone, but who do we start with? We have Gillies McBain, we have Donald Bain, we have Alan Bean, the astronaut. I'll give you a brief clip, if you will, on each one of them. I sometimes like to call ourselves the Moon Clan because one of our clan members, Alan Bean, in 1969 was the 4th person to stand on the surface of the moon. And he took our tartan to the moon. So the McBain tartan has traveled to the moon and then back again. And then that tartan was divided into pieces. And there is a piece of the McBain tartan that went to the moon and came back in Scotland at a McBain church chapel. To get precise about that, we'll go back to Philip Beddoes. But that was an amazing achievement. At the Battle of Culloden, We had Gillies McBain, who was a giant of a man at his time. I know that in the interview with Philip, he gets quite into the story of how amazed the opposing force was at his size. And he took down 13 soldiers by sword to allow his other members of Clan Hatton, not just McBain's, to have a retreat before he was finally cut down. So certainly a great person for Clan MacBain. Then we have Donald McBain, who is fascinating. He predates Culloden. His time was more like 1724, and he's considered the best swordsman in all of probably Europe at that time. And he was somewhat of a mercenary, and he is noted for being a commoner, but somehow he wrote a book about swordsmanship. And that book is still used today as one of the #1 sources for swordsmanship in that period. His life story is absolutely fascinating, and one could spend a whole hour just on his story. Another great McBain that I think doesn't get enough mention is my grandfather, Houston McBain, 21st hereditary chief of the ancient Clan MacBean. He's interesting because he was first a journalist in his life, and then later led a very fascinating career in business where he became the president and CEO of what was then, I think, the largest department store in the world, which was Marshall Field's. When he retired, I guess I'll go on a side story here.
Yeah.
When he married his wife, who was a Keith, there's a story in our family. Margaret Keith was very hesitant to marry my grandfather because she was very proud of her Scottish heritage, and she was suspicious that my grandfather really was Scottish.
Oh, no.
Luckily, they joined, and when he retired from Marshall Fields, and actually during the end of his tenure there, he started using his journalistic skills that he had prior to being in business and started researching where was the clan chief de jure for Clan MacBean. De jure meaning that he had not matriculated his arms. And through about a 10-year search, in a time we didn't have internet, but I have letters and photographs of all the correspondence, he was able to find that man who lived in Canada. And he went to Canada, met the man, let him know that he was the rightful heir of the chiefship of Clan MacBean. Unfortunately, this man was not interested in being chief and didn't have many days left on the planet. So, my grandfather did a couple of things. My grandfather was able to prove to the Lion Court that he was actually a relation to one of the earlier chiefs, the actual bloodline relationship. And with that knowledge, he was able to get the chief de jure in Canada to elect him as the next MacBain chief. So we are hereditary because we do tie into the chiefly line. And then he paid to have that man's arms matriculated, so he could understand his importance in his Scottish history. Unfortunately, that process did not get done until after he passed. But I want to say that I think Houston was a very important part of Clan MacBean because of his charisma, his tenacity. We have land in Scotland now. It's very small, but you've been there, and I think it's very special. So I think he's one of the very, very famous MacBains. And not a McBain, but an important event. We not only took our tartan to the moon, but we also have our tartan on a wee flag on the top of Mount Everest.
Oh my goodness. Did you take it there personally?
Well, I was somewhat athletic in my earlier life, but that was mostly bicycles. And I don't think anybody has bicycled to the top of Everest yet. So I'll have to say no on that. But you're right. If you go to Clan MacBean website, you can read about how that actually happened. And I think part of that story shows how close many of these Scottish clans are. In fact, if you follow some of the stories that Philip goes down, which are rabbit holes, um, these clans lived amongst themselves. The people of the clans lived amongst themselves, and they married freely between different clans. So that it's a tight knit world.
It is a tight-knit world, and, oddly enough, this is kind of a side note again for me, but talking with Philip and going over some of the earlier history, we actually got a map out and we started mapping part of the history because way back in the ancient times, obviously it took quite some time for people to get from one place to another. And a big part of the history we were surmising was what was going on in this particular area and the retreat, Rothy Marcus. And so we got maps out and we were going over this as we were plotting this history together. And just listening to him and watching him is just phenomenal. He's very good at what he does and he's very knowledgeable and he has access to archives and things that I just don't and he's got the patience to root out the story and go down the rabbit hole as you say.
But he's not the only expert we have in our midst. I mean, I now that I'm on the board of Clan Hatton, I've been working closely with Rex, and we're working on a map project. And
Oh,
it's very exciting, and I might blur its goal. We really need Rex here, but he's another amazing historian that we have. And he is working on, broadly speaking, because it's his project, not mine. I'm kind of in charge of the website and organizing stuff that will hopefully be up by the end of 2024. So if you're not a member of Clan Hatton, you should definitely consider that, because when that thing comes out, you'll have access to an amazing history of where did the clan's people live. If you look at Macintosh, your chief has lived within 1 square mile for 1,000 years, give or take. So
yes.
that's pretty easy to find out where he lived. And the McBain lands of Kinhile, those are pretty easy to find. But where did the McBains themselves live? Where did the people that supported the Macintoshes and McPhersons live? That's a different story. And so he's trying to do the best he can with old maps. And we're putting together quite an elaborate project. And that history is fascinating too. We are so lucky that there are people that are interested in something that you would think it's not that long ago. We're talking 400 years ago, 200 years ago, but yet so much has been lost in that time. And so we're lucky to have historians. And if you're interested in history, you should consider helping us in uncovering these stories.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I want to let people know, I will link all of obviously your website, but social media as well. And you were talking about Rex Davidson of the Clan Hatton Association Council. And yes, I can't wait to have him on as well, not just for Davidson month, but just because in general, as you say, he is very, very knowledgeable. And we're just so blessed we have so many people in the association are able to get access or have the knowledge base already and know where to go to get this information. And how exciting, we have a map coming out on the new site. And Richard here is helping to put together the new website for the association, which we're very, very grateful. Richard, thank you. Join the association. You will have access on the current site to some more of the history of the Clan Hatton Association, what was the Confederation, through the different journals. The journals are all for member access only on that site. And you will receive your Touch Not magazine. So, and you always have a really lovely article in that Touch Not, Richard. So all of you McBains, you're going to want to see the Touch Not and read about what's going on in McBain world. Hopefully everybody has seen the inauguration. I did also do a little walkthrough on the little trail, the historical trail, at the McBain Memorial Park, and that is really interesting. I love how you guys set that up, and you can go on this little trail and learn more about McBain's and McBain history. You had an inauguration, and I remember talking with Joe Morrow, the Lord Lion, Dr. Morrow, about coming and conducting that inauguration. It was very fascinating. He says he doesn't get to do many of those. I don't know if he had ever done another before. Talk to us a little bit about your chiefship and what that meant to you, and what being the chief of Clan MacBain. I know these are huge questions, but it meant for you to just talk about. And what would you like to see happen for your clan, and moving forward into the future?
Becoming a hereditary chief of a Scottish clan is not exactly a happy day, because that means your father has passed away. Or, I mean, you could be a cousin, a nephew, but in general, it's actually not a happy day because somebody very significant has passed away. In our case, what happened is in 2022, we were coming to Scotland to put on an event to honor Alan Bean, which I spoke about earlier. And we had spent 4 to 5 years building a monument that is a flagstone kind of stage cut out of the side of the hill of McBain Park with a cairn of sorts, and then historical information put on that to acknowledge that really amazing day. As that date approached, my father passed away. And the members of Clan MacBean Association of North America and Clan MacBean members in Scotland really wanted to have an event showing that I had become the chief. And I didn't even know there was such an inauguration. So through their research, they found out that there was an event that was rarely done. And it was organized by a great group of people. Alan McBain and his wife, Margaret, and Philip Beddoes were the main players. And so when we were in McBain Park in August 1st into July, whatever the actual day was, we had Scottish chiefs from Clan Chattan. We had the Lord Lion. You were there. And it was wonderful because instead of in a giant hall, we marched down a very obscure road in the middle of nowhere, and we marched into McBain Park, which overlooks Loch Ness, and we proceeded to tell the tale of how the various clans come together, and what it means to be a chief, and the whole thing. And so it was a very moving experience for me. And maybe the following day was even more moving when we went to Culloden. And for the first time since the actual Battle of Culloden in 1745, we had a chief of Clan MacBean and we had the commander for Clan MacGillivray, who fought side by side in Culloden, and unfortunately both passed. We had the current heads of clans there for the first time in 400 years at Palantir. And I thought that was really, really special.
Yes, and we have some photographs which we will share right now to show that event. And it is very special because two of the biggest heroes of that battle were Gillies McBain, of course, and you heard that story from Philip Beddoes, and also Alexander MacGillivray. And you can see where he fell. There's a stone marker there, which we'll also put on the screen, that they have labeled as MacGillivray. Here lies Chief of MacGillivray, and it's known as the Well of the Dead. And there's a story with that, which I want Ian MacGillivray, the clan commander, to come on and talk about that and give us that history. There were many Culloden heroes, but they were two very big heroes of that day, and both fell on that battlefield.
Moving from that event when I became chief, and as the taddest of Clan MacBean, I followed my father around to various events and functions and tried to learn what role he served as a clan chief in this modern time. And I got to tell you, being a clan tannist is the best role you can possibly have. You're in training. You can make any mistake you want, write it right off because you're in training. I had so much fun there. When I was ever asked to speak, I never felt under any pressure because, hey, I'm in training.
Well, I hope you don't now. People enjoy talking to you. I love how you're so approachable. Everybody's different. We're all human beings. We have different personalities, but I think you do a wonderful job speaking with people in person, and you are very approachable and very well done, you. And don't be so hard on yourself. You're amazing.
I will say, yes, what is one of the roles? I think you just hit on it. One of the roles of a Scottish chief, in my opinion, is to get to know the people, not just in your clan, but the people that are interested in the history of this clan lifestyle from Scotland. So when we go to a Scottish games, mostly in Arizona, so there you go, Scotland in the desert, we make it a point of going to every clan tent that's there, and we're interested in hearing from the members of that tent about whatever they want to talk about. It may not have anything to do with Scotland, but we get to know those same people event after event, and then newcomers. And over time, over decades, a story evolves about the Scottish diaspora. Those of us who got shot out of a cannon and ended up in a different part of the world than our ancestors. What life did we lead? We think about our homeland and all of that. It's fascinating. And as a clan chief, you sort of become, you sort of are the head, a modern clan chief. You're sort of the head of this family. You're often the head of the games. And maybe what that gives you is that people open up to you and will tell you stories and events in their life that are meaningful to them. And you can then hopefully pass it on to others, and we can have this group of people grow and interconnect more. That's one of my goals, is to get all the people that are interested in their heritage more connected so they know each other's stories. So they know about Gillies and I know about their heroes and so on and so forth. That's the thing. And if I'm more approachable, that's because really my job is to listen. I'm not really a big talker, but I'm pretty good at listening.
You're good at speaking as well. Is there something in particular you really, really want to do now in your lifetime as the chief of Clan MacBain? Have you already done some of those things? I know that you have, you were very much hands-on even as a tannist in getting those 2 new cats for the memorial park made. And you and Lisa worked diligently on those and putting that event together. And then with the Alan Bean Memorial, do you have any other very special things you'd like to do or aspirations, things you'd like to see happen within your clan?
One of the things was our park was badly vandalized and things were taken over many decades. And while my father was still alive, I went to him and he said, yes, you can take this over. And I'm proud to say that McBain Park now is not only fully restored, it's in much better hands now than it ever was. And we have a new monument there. And one of the things I want to see going forward into the future is a way to enshrine that, to keep it maintained, to keep it going, and actually to keep it growing. There's some other things we'd like to add to the park that add to the story of Clan MacBain, Clan Hatton, that we would like to add. Another goal of mine is to bring more of the McBains that are in Scotland into our group that started in North America. And I would love, and so Philip and Alan McBain and others that live in Scotland have done tremendous things for our clan, and we would like to see that part of our clan grow, the part in Europe or Scotland. That's a big thing. And I'm sure there are many other things that I'd like to accomplish, but at this time, that's all I've got for you.
That's quite all right. As I say, I do love your website and how you do highlight some very special and important people. I love to hear the sentiments on your grandfather, and maybe there's something there that you can talk more about him and what he did, where people can go to find that. I also very much enjoy when I'm over for the Clan Hatton Association AGM. By the way, everyone, get your tickets now. They're on sale. It's at the Kings Mills Hotel in Inverness. I love to be able to go over to the McBain Memorial Park and its beautiful views, and just it's a wonderful part of that weekend. It's a beautiful place, and we love the McBains. So everyone, you need to join Clan McBain. And am I right in saying, I believe that I am, I don't want to again overstep, anyone with an interest. It's not just anyone with that surname. I'm a Macintosh. Probably if I go back into my ancestry, there's going to probably be some McBains there as well, because the Macintoshes and McBains were just so tightly knit over the centuries. But I have a great interest in your clan, and so I'm joining Clan McBain. All of you should as well. Keep up with Richard and what he's doing. You guys also have a YouTube channel as well.
Oh,
And
that's one of my projects that I'm working on that's gotten recently stalled, but I think I can get it back online. I am trying to have individual videos, just short little videos of McBains from around the world. This idea, I'm very obsessed with this idea of the Scottish diaspora. We came from a place and we just like seeds in the wind got blown all over the planet. And I think it would be very fun to see imagery from the parts on this planet where we landed. So we have somebody in Norway, we have people in Australia, South Africa, all over the United States. I'm sure I'm missing many, many countries. And I would really love it if you're part of Clan McBain uh, or interested to be able to share a story or to just share a video of the land or the city and the area that you've landed in and how you got to be there. And I would love to have that.
that's a beautiful thing. I think we should do that with the association as well. Um, how very fun. And what a great way to connect. Even if you can't, if you're out there and you can't make it to one of the Highland Games, we've talked about this before, or one of the events, this is a great way for us to connect with each other and maybe get to know each other a little bit. Richard will share the contact information he would like for you to use to send that information or video or pictures over to him. And or you can comment down below in this section. We love to see the comments online, so please keep those coming. And I'll also put contact information for Clan Hatton Association as well. Send us everything you've got. That is a beautiful thing to do, and I hope we can do that on this channel as well and highlight people from around the world.
Well, I mean, we can take this on as a joint project because any member of Clan Hatton could tell their story. We've already talked about how the clans are so intertwined. It would just be a wonderful thing. And as far as contacts on our specific clan, we have the clanmacbean.org. And we also have my own website, which is McBain of McBain.org. And either one of those has a contact form. And if you're interested, then you can contact us through either one of those forms, or you can leave something in the comment section, or you can reach out to Cindy. But don't be camera shy, because if you are, we don't have to have an image of you. We just want your story and where you are and how you got there. What a great thing. If we could get 50, 60, 100 people up there, we start to build a tapestry.
Yes, I love this. I'm getting ideas. I'm thinking we should have a separate playlist in the Clan Hatton Association members from around the world, and focus and feature people who want to send in their whatever it is you want to send in. Like Richard said, if you're camera shy and you really don't want to be in front of the camera, look, none of us likes watching ourselves on this. I really don't. I had to start doing this during COVID. I was so uncomfortable seeing myself on film. But just know that, nobody likes seeing themselves, but we like seeing you, and everybody else is going to love seeing you. And
Just remember, everybody who watches these wants you to succeed.
yes, every
So when you feel shaky or not at your best, it doesn't matter. The people watching this stuff want to see you succeed. And the way we are working on the project, but the idea was, I thought what I would do is send out emails to people, or if you contact us, as we've talked about, then I could get on the phone with you. How neat, right? You could talk to your chief and we could scope out together what you want to do. If you need technical assistance, we can provide that. And the same would be true of members of Clan Hatton. You could reach out to Cindy, and in a conversation with her, we can map out how you can do this, even if you're not technically skilled. A simple cell phone will take a great video, and we can place you someplace in your town where you can either show your house or show your city, or we could even have stills that we find online. And I'm sure every single one of you has a fascinating story of a relative in your life that relates to clan life.
we're going to start this project and maybe circle back in a couple of months with Richard and see how that's
Sure.
going. And prod all of you, don't be shy. We want to connect. Richard, I cannot thank you enough for being here with us today. I know that everybody wanted to hear directly from you, and they will on an ongoing basis. I'm just the microphone. So
Oh no, no, you're a coordinator. You're a making it happen person. So
try,
people like yourself and Philip Beddoes, I put up on a pedestal and I admire you.
gosh.
Because with your efforts, hopefully we can learn more about ourselves and we can get to know each other better. So that what else can we wish for?
And I think this is a great tool for us to be able to do that in these modern times. So I'm appreciative of your time. And please give our best to Lisa, Lisa
Yes,
McFarlane.
hopefully we can have her sitting here next time.
Yes, we would love to have her on. I will connect with her and we'll have her on as soon as possible. She's fascinating and inspiring. And so that's going to be something to really look forward to. So again, everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe here, please. That really helps us, and it helps get this message out to more and more people. And also become a member of the Clan Hatton Association, but also become a member of Clan MacBean. It really helps to support the clans in the association and helps us all to keep up with each other. So appreciative of you keeping the history and the clan alive and together. And it's an honor to have you here today, Richard. Thank you.
You're welcome. Until we meet again.
Until we meet again, and we will see you hopefully back here as often as you can come.
Well,
And
I think the next time should be next time to see how we do in this project.
sounds perfect. Okay, Richard, goodbye for now.
Goodbye.